On this video, I'm going to show you some of the things I do to get ready to leave our campsite. It's a little thing I do to go around and do different things in the campsite just to get ready, and this will be different with different people, with different campers, but this is how I do it. Alright, first off is when the night before we go, before we know we're leaving, we'll usually take our grill and our tables and we'll take them all off our side, clean the grill up, and we'll usually have something like a biker wave or something easy, or maybe a muffin or something if we're boondocking. But that way we have all of our stuff put up on the side, and I've got it packed in my one storage area here. And then when we get up in the morning, pretty much I get up in the morning, and in this case I had a few things. Some people had left a mess in the fire pit, so I had to pick up some trash, so I just kind of walked the campsite and got the trash out. So that was my first step, just to kind of make sure the site's cleaned up, got my trash kind of bundled in one little area. Second thing is I get my keys together and I go around and I unlock everything that I need to know to deal with for the day as far as getting on the road. And the first thing I do is I lock up my lithium batteries on the side here, and I also put my drill in here. Hopefully people ain't gonna get into this, but the thing is, it's just one little lock I have to do here. I unlock that so I can get access to that stuff as we're getting ready to leave. Then I go down here to my next stop, and my next stop is open her here, and I have a key for my sticky slinky, which some people say that's ridiculous, but I've heard people get them stolen. So I'll come down here and I'll unlock this, and I'll just leave it hanging there until I don't. So you'll see I got unlocked there. So the next thing I do is go over to where I'm plugged in. Now on this particular setup, I didn't have any way. I usually take this lock here, which is key to like, and I usually have this lock to where someone can't run off with this surge protector. But in this case I didn't have it, so it's just attached to here, so don't have to fool with this one on this particular trip. Next thing I do is unlock everything on my tongue, getting it ready. I take my pin lock off, take this lock off, and I get this prepared to where I can back in and get it onto the truck. So the next thing I do, and this just depends on if we're hooked up to water or not. If we're not hooked to water, I don't have to do this move at all. But at this point, I'll go ahead and shut my water off, and I'm going to disconnect it. I have these quick disconnects, and I also make sure I get my regulator, which I have built into here, and then I'm gonna let it lay out and drain for a little while. And I got it disconnected from the back here, so we'll take care of that now. Now you notice I did unplug. I go ahead and disconnected that water, but what we do, we leave about 5 gallons of water in our water tank. That way we can still utilize our bathroom right up until the time we dump. So we usually keep that 5 gallons in there, but what we want to do is come into the bathroom and of course take the toilet paper roll off, because that'll unroll. And then what I also do while I'm in here is I almost always run my fantastic fan, so I want to go ahead and turn that off. And then I want to make sure I'm close down on this, ready for travel. Alright, lock that in. And then on to the regular part here. We want to make sure our towel rack has been taken down. And we still have a few more things to do in here, but that's just while we're in here, we're doing this. And then we'll get in here and finish up with one final push before we get out. And like I say, if we have anything that we're gonna leave in here, we make sure they're packed in pretty good. Got some stuff stuffed in the sink there so it won't shift around. And we just have everything where nothing will come off. But we'll go do one more check of this before we get done. Okay, next up is that we want to pack up. I'm going to pack up my rugs here, my little table. We do usually leave the chairs out for last. We just usually kind of, everything after we get done, just kind of chill and sit back and put those last under the truck. But right now we're just going to pick up the 2 rugs, put our table up here, and then we'll be almost ready to hook up to the car or truck. And one thing unique to me, and I don't know if other people have it, but I have a sensor that takes the temperature outside. Usually I Velcro it and it's stuck right here by my door so I don't forget it and leave it out there and run down the road with it. But that's something that as I'm doing this, I'll pull this off and just set it inside my camper, and then it's not going to fall off on the way going down the road. So now we're just about ready to get this thing off of jacks, or the stabilizer jacks. So we'll get it. So now what I do is, it depends on the slope of course, but the heel's going down this way for me, so these back ones are still being utilized, so I don't want to mess with them, but I want to pull my front chocks in this case. Again, if it was leaning forward, I wouldn't want to pull those chocks until the very end, but I'm going to do that way when I put my tongue on, it'll adjust to kind of fall over the hitch. So remove these two front ones. See, I'm probably going to leave that one in because that's actually my leveling one, so it's a move forward, so I'm going to leave that one in for now. But that other one will allow me to do some adjustments. Now, last thing before I move my tongue jack up and get it ready for the truck is I want to put this up because you don't want this shifting around. It may be a big area. Sometimes it's not important to put that up, but I just do it every time just to make sure. And then that way I don't have anything touching that'll allow me to go up and down. So now I'm going to take this up just enough that it's just a tad a bit above my hitch so I can back up underneath of it. So there's no connections other than my few chocks that I have in place. So what I do is I line this up where it's just slightly ahead of it. That way when I put this on here, it actually falls over the ledge there, and you'll see what that does when it goes in. That's why I take that one chalk out. So I see it's putting weight on that. You want to stop. You might have to rock your truck a little bit to get it to fall into place. In this case, I actually had to release the manual brake, the parking brake, and it shoved it back, and it could feel it drop a little bit on there. So now we drop it on. Of course, our hasp is open. And we'll just slip on over that. And if you got it right, this will snap into place. I'm not going to get into too many details. I've got videos on how I attach this here and how I've done these as far as the weight distribution hitch. So everybody's got different type hitches, so I'm not going to get too much into that. But at this point, I'm going to get the whole thing hooked up, and then we'll go to the next step. So that's all hooked up, and I went ahead and put my ladder back down because I'm getting there to do one more check. And now, so what I'm going to do, I have this new Anderson leveler, so we're going to do a little extra step here I haven't done before. But first thing we need to do is go around to the far side and get the one chalk in the back, if we can get it. There you go, you can get that one out of there. And if you notice, I do the electricity the very last thing before I leave, so just got to make sure we do that because we don't want to yank that out of the cord. But anyway, what we're going to do now is put steps back up, and I'm going to back onto the Anderson over back, that way I can get that one actual chalk out of there. So pull forward, get off the Anderson jack. Most importantly, don't leave this behind. That'll get you when you're do your final walk down. Now, last thing I'm going to do is disconnect the power. Put my steps down, and I'll show you why here in a minute. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the power and go and disconnect my cable. Now, if you've got a gas refrigerator like I do, I'm going to listen for a ticking sound and make sure that my actual refrigerator lights. So as soon as I get this turned off, I'm going to walk over there and listen for it to tick. And if it quits ticking like that really quick, you know it's probably lit. And we'll go inside and I'll show you what you check for when you go inside to make sure that it didn't falsely light. Now that I got my cable, I'm going to do a walk around, and I'm just checking things out on this side, make sure nothing's behind here, make sure my jacks are all up. Quick walk around, and you'll notice I've got my awning. That'll be the last thing I pull up, which sometimes I'll do that if I don't want to run the battery down. I'll put that up before I disconnect my power cord, but in this case I haven't used any batteries, so it's not going to be a big deal. So I'm going inside and we'll see what we have to do in here. Once inside, I want to make sure all my windows are closed. We didn't use all of our windows, but I still want to check them, because if these are just slightly open, they'll allow it to bang, and you don't want to break a window. So I'm checking all my connections. I do know I had this one open, so I'm going to open it and close it just to make sure it's closed. So that's good with that. Now check your refrigerator. You can see here in the refrigerator on these propane fireplace or propane refrigerators, you have an on or off button. You have it in auto, and if that didn't light, you would see this check light come on. Now you can run it purely in gas if you want, but I've got it in the auto, that way it detects if you plug in your 120. So that's ready to go. Close our door. Final look in here, looking good, and we're just about ready to hit the road and hit the sewer on the way out. The last thing we're doing here is the awning. We're going to hit the old retract button. We're going to let it go up a little bit here, and then I'm going to hit it a few times to make sure nothing got up on top of it. If you have a place where you can look up on it, that's a good thing to do. You'll see some leaves coming off of there. So it's always good to stop it anyway, just to kind of let everything get used to it coming in. Alright, last thing you do is close your door. Make sure this is tucked in here. I gotta put up my chair and grab my trash and glance at the site one last time. It's looking pretty good. And then we'll hit the dump station. Actually, in this case, it's right across the street this time, so it's gonna be kind of close by. So that's about all I have for this video. Just wanted to show you a quick way of how I get things together in a hurry and get going. Like I say, it'll be different for different campers. It'll be different for your style of camping, but this is what works out really well for me. So I just hope this helped out a few people that have a little bit of problems figuring out exactly what to do and what the steps are next. This kind of works out well for me. So we'll see you again in another video.